This episode of Android Authority is brought to you by Domain.com. So let's talk Marshmallow and all the improvements we hope it brings to our beloved Android. Now, the number one thing, especially for all us hardcore fans out there, is customization. While Android M offers such features as arranging quick toggles and having a possible dark theme, it's still no match compared to custom ROMs. Theming and changes to the core look of the OS are nothing new to the rooting community, and it's time Google allows this deep customization in stock Android. Now, number two is way overdue, a better tablet UI. Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich had a dedicated tablet UI, which made the tablet and phone experience very different. Jelly Bean unified the tablet and phone UI to look and act very similar, while keeping them separate, and Lollipop basically made them indistinguishable. This is a good and bad thing. While the experience is now the same, no matter what device you're using, there aren't any special software features that make having a tablet worthwhile, which leads into our next section. Now, number three is a big one if tablets are going to become a serious tool for productivity, and that comes down to multitasking and RAM management. Multi-window multitasking is nothing new for owners of smartphones that come with customized versions of Android, like those from Samsung or LG. But until now, it has not been included in stock Android. While still in the experimental stage, this feature is now in the Android M developer preview. It enables apps to be opened simultaneously in all four corners or two side by side. The only problem is that it doesn't necessarily look good, and closing apps in this way may reveal others that are behind it. This can lead to a confusing experience, which I'm hoping will be addressed in coming updates. Also, the RAM management issues that should have been addressed in KitKat still exist today. And without these issues being fixed, multi-window apps and heavy multitasking do not seem possible on stock Android just yet. And can we talk better lock screen and widgets? Google introduced lock screen widgets in Android 4.2 and sort of removed them in Lollipop. Swiping left or right now opens the camera or phone. There's no option to add widgets and swipe between them like you could in Jelly Bean or KitKat. However, the notifications are actionable, so there is still the ability to change songs and do anything that you could in the notification shade. This method works, but is not as pretty or as useful as it used to be. Having the ability to add widgets like in Jelly Bean or KitKat with actionable notifications would be a very nice improvement. Now, a big issue, really big, is privacy and permissions. AppOps made a slight appearance in Android 4.3 Jelly Bean. It let you control which apps you can take advantage of with permissions. If you didn't want Facebook being able to see your location, you could block the app from being able to do so. Unfortunately, this feature was removed in Android 4.4.2 KitKat. Being able to control app permissions is a must-have, and it would be a welcome addition to Android M or any future Android release. And a big issue for the geek community is full backup and restore. Now, this is nothing new in the root community. One of the best things about being able to unlock or root the phone is the ability to install a custom recovery. CWM Recovery and TWRP both offer ways to make Android backups, which back up the whole system in case something goes wrong. This only takes a few clicks, and the options provided are very customizable. Restoring it is also a breeze with just a few steps. Google is getting closer with the ability to back up app data in Android M and the ability to add accounts and the home screen layout using tap and go. This is relatively convenient compared to old versions of Android, but it doesn't compare to a full system restore or a dedicated app like Titanium Backup. Now, I know that this is a bit of a pipe dream, but we would love the ability to remove bloatware without rooting our phone. Carrier-branded devices are known to come with a lot of bloatware. AT&T installs apps in the double digits on branded devices, and even the Nexus 6 when it came out. AT&T is not the only one at fault, however. Most of the carriers have come with some sort of bloatware that you can't get rid of no matter how hard you try, unless, of course, you root your phone. Disabling the apps in settings will get rid of them in the app drawer and prevent them from doing anything, but they still take up precious space on your device. So what do you think? Am I missing something? Let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see in Android M. So someone asked me the name of my website, I told them, and then they promptly forgot. But they were able to find it because they assumed, as 90% of the population does, that there was a .com extension. So they were able to find it without getting distracted going to someone else's website. That's the power of a .com. Because no domain name extension tells your story with the same level of trust as a .com or .net domain name. .com and .net domain name extensions inject credibility into your online presence. And who doesn't want more credibility? You can save 15% on domain name and web hostings when you use our coupon code ANDROID at domain.com checkout. Don't forget, 15% off when you use our coupon code ANDROID. When you think domain names, think domain.com. Okay guys, I want to clear something up. Earlier this week, we did an Android weekly show, and part of it, I made fun and criticized Huawei for the slogan on their Huawei watch where they say, "A wearable to be worn." And I said this was a very poor choice of words, and I made fun of it, comparing it to the litany of other poor Chinese English translations. There's sites out there that just feature this, right? Where they show you a sign where it was in Chinese and English, and the English translation is completely off and misleading. That is part of my job. That was entirely fair criticism as someone in my position. That is part of my job. A wearable to be worn, if you think about that, is redundant. A wearable means something you are able to wear. A wearable to be worn is then redundant. That's like saying a drink to be drunk, a car to drive, a light to turn on. It's ridiculous. It doesn't mean anything. What exactly does it mean? And Huawei, with their budget and size, should have known that. I don't know how that made it past their marketing department if they're filled with people who are not native English speakers. And I realize if you're not a native English speaker, that may seem kind of appropriate, but it's not. It's redundant. It's absolutely horrible. It's a very poor choice of words. So I want to put that out there. It was not racist because I'm not criticizing Chinese people. I'm criticizing the marketing department that put that copy out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You don't want to forget about my brothers and sister in Android who are working super hard to be your source for all things Android.